Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat datang ke podcast Borak-Borak BU. Podcast yang mengetengahkan mengenai kehidupan, kewangan dan juga peluang-peluang di luar sana untuk anak-anak muda. Dengan saya sekarang ini adalah Zahrin. Zahrin, sebelum kita start podcast ni, kita tengok sini ada BU, ada Borak-Borak BU. BU tu apa sebenarnya?
Alright, Pujan. Okay. So, pada pendengar-pendengar kami semua, BU by Bank Islam ni adalah aplikasi perbankan digital. So, digital banking lah, senang kita nak taruh yang dibangunkan oleh Bank Islam. Alright. So, this digital bank ni, dia banyak cool features lah. So, antara cool features dia, satu, you nak buka bank account, tak payah pergi branch. You boleh buka je bank account mana-mana dekat rumah ke, pada bila-bila masa dengan menggunakan smartphone anda. Okay. And also, kita tahu, ramai antara kita kan, selalu cerita, nak simpan duit. Azam tahun baru je simpan duit. Kan? Tetapi, more often than not, tak berjaya. Jadi, kita ada feature-feature yang kita panggil nest. Dalam bahasa Melayu, sarang kan. Dekat mana kita, dapat menyimpan. Lepas tu, dia adalah feature-feature dia yang menolong kita menyimpan dengan lebih baik. Lepas tu, kadang-kadang kita fikir juga, kat mana nak cari duit lebih sikit ke apa semua kan? Ada time free ni. Jadi dekat dalam ni kita ada gig marketplace. Kat dalam tu bolehlah tengok vacancy, part time work lah. Bukanlah pekerjaan penuh masa, tapi part time work yang kita boleh buat whenever our free time. Lepas tu last sekali, kami juga ada akaun Al-Awfa dekat dalam BU ni, and jikalau kita menyimpan dekat investment account ni, kita ada chance untuk menang hadiah-hadiah yang best. Itu adalah BU by Bank Islam, Pujan.
So basically kepada you guys yang dengar what is BU, it's easier for you untuk download je apps tu. Explore sendiri what is BU. It's banyak benda dalam tu. Zahrin baru cakap ni probably dalam 10% apa yang ada dalam tu. So you guys boleh download apps BU by Bank Islam lah. So kita untuk topik podcast kali ni, kita akan bercakap mengenai kahwin awal, rezeki melimpah ruah. Ini adalah persoalan yang sangat evergreen. Sejak saya dulu lagi, sebelum kahwin lagi, saya telah melalui statement ni daripada orang-orang tua yang mengatakan kahwin je dulu, tak ada apalah, rezeki akan datang. So hari ni kita ada membawa guest kita, which is Yayan, one of the person yang kahwin awal, setahun selepas grad terus kahwin. Memang tak pause dulu, tak ada nak rehat, terus kahwin. So dia memang ada pengalaman dalam antara orang yang kahwin awal lah. So Yayan, what's up? Khabar?
Assalamualaikum. Good. Hello. Hi. Thank you so much sebab jemput I datang hari ni. Nervous juga ni kan. You punya intro tadi macam terus je kahwin. Rasa macam ya ke? Okay. Anyway, so very excited to be here. Betul topik yang I think everyone pun dah melalui atau akan melalui atau sedang consider nak melalui kan. So very excited to share my POV, my perspective and my pengalaman lah. Nak share story sikit lah kan. So thank you.
So soalan sekarang ni kan, which is the main question is kahwin awal, rezeki melimpah ruah. It is fakta ataupun mitos from POV lah?
Okay, kahwin awal rezeki melimpah ruah. Yes. Right. And I think kita take one step back. Okay, rezeki. Kalau kita kata rezeki ni, apa definition dia? Selalunya orang akan cakap bila rezeki atau associationnya orang akan cakap rezeki melimpah ruah, I'm assuming lebih kepada kewangan lah. Kan kita highlight selalu kita cakap pasal rezeki kewangan. Tapi sometimes kita lupa rezeki pun datang dalam macam-macam bentuk. Rezeki dapat mertua yang baik, isteri yang baik, suami yang baik, rezeki dapat jiran yang baik, right? Rezeki dapat you kahwin tu, you dapat belajar mengenali each other, the beauty side of it, the not so beauty side of it, itu pun rezeki. Tapi ramai orang rasa macam fine, apa-apa mesti kewangan, which is fair. I mean, it's valid opinion anyway. So kalau nak kata rezeki melimpah ruah, yes. Kalau you tengok kad kewangan solely, mungkin ada orang akan rasa macam Tak, I'm very tough lah lepas kahwin and I tak deny. And I sendiri pun pernah melalui fasa-fasa yang macam hiccup sikit dalam financial, right? Tapi kalau kita duduk, kita orang kata reflect balik and then macam but then there's always a beauty side of it lah. So nak kata fakta atau mitos tu macam I think ada betulnya di situ, tapi tengok you ukur rezeki tu dari mana, aspek mana. Macam tu.
So kira macam count your blessings lah.
Yeah, yes, you have to count your blessing lah.
Okay. So macam kahwin awal ni kan, macam orang lain bila dah grad ni, kita pergi job street dulu.
Okay.
Bila dah grad kan, bila dah grad pergi job street dulu, nak cari kerja, tapi tak adalah pergi cari dewan.
Okay. betul.
So I mean I think ramai orang terfikir juga benda ni kan. Kepada siapa yang nak kahwin awal kan, will I feel missed out kan? Macam you kan, tiba I don't know. That's why I want to hear from you kan. Jadi pasal saya, bukan saya tak kahwin awal.
Okay.
Jadi saya antara yang berkesempatan lah kan. Tiba-tiba dah ke sana, tiba-tiba ke sini, tiba-tiba buat benda ni because gaji saya adalah kepada saya dan bukannya belum lagi untuk menjaga keluarga.
Betul.
Okay. So what was going through your mind and what was your experience back early then?
Okay, dia macam panjang sikit lah nak cerita ni kan. Okay, kata terus job street, kita cari kerja dulu. Okay, tapi still lah lepas macam orang kata almost immediately lah. Okay, tapi again orang kata if my story is that saya dah bersama dengan husband saya, masa tu boyfriend lah kan, dah I think dah dekat 10 tahun. So we met in high school. Dah lama.
High school love lah.
High school lovers lah ni. Kan, masuk sekolah tak tahulah belajar ke, cari dulu kan lah kan. Menyelam, apa orang kata, killing two birds with a stone. Betul ke?
Minum air lah.
Macam tu lah kan. Okay. So saya dah lama dengan husband saya, masa tu boyfriend. So at one point kita kata macam bila dah sampai halfway through the relationship, we have to start think about, okay, where is this heading? Are we really going to settle down? I mean, are we aligned with getting married or what not? Okay. So bila kita ada dah that goal and mindset, kita dah tahu, okay, we decided that, okay, we want to get married. So that's why lepas grad tu dah macam kerja sekejap je betul terus kahwin, sebab perancangan tu dah dibuat awal. Okay, dah ada mindset awal dah.
Sebelum ada account job street lah.
Sebelum ada job street dah ada buku. Dah ada buku dah ada Pinterest dah. Macam mana nak buat semua tu. Okay. Tapi kalau nak kata macam tadi Zarin ada cakap, okay, you experience orang kata apa yang you dapat gaji tu you dapat spend yourself dulu, lepas tu baru bila ada family kan. Macam since I berkahwin awal, so rasa pegang duit sendiri alone tu sekejap, tak lama, right? So and then it goes back to macam sekarang bila dah umur sekarang ni, income pun dah little bit more stable, kita tengok pula ada kawan yang lain yang macam yang tak kahwin, pernah pula ke terlintas macam what if kalau I tak kahwin lagi, and can I be like their life pula? And then macam
if banyak tu.
What if lah? Of course, as a human being, you akan start compare. Sebab you look around, you tengok sekarang content pula apa-apa semua kan.
Yes.
So you start comparing. Tapi bila you start comparing, you pun tak tahu sebenarnya orang lain yang tengok you, dia pun compare dia orang kepada diri you. Ya kan, bestnya jadi you. You dah stable, you dah ada ni, you dah ada family. I belum lagi. Kawan pun tak tahu. Different side pula.
Dia ada struggle juga lah.
Dia struggle pula. Different tu pula. So macam, again, count your blessing. You punya perspektif lain, orang lain tengok you lain pula.
Bersyukurlah.
Bersyukurlah.
Betul. But kembali balik kepada masalah, I mean, rezeki kan, kewangan tu kan, you cakap kewangan tadi. There's a poll done by Sina. Dia kat out of 315, half of it mengatakan punca penceraian datangnya daripada kewangan. So as good as kita nak kata rezeki tu anak, rezeki tu ibu mertua yang baik, jiran yang baik, at the end of the day yang menggerakkan kita ni dekat as a family is money. We nak movement, kita kena ada duit.
Betul.
So what do you think about that? Sebab berbalik kepada topik rezeki tu. So dengar macam lebih kepada mitos je benda lah ni.
Okay. So macam katanya punca sebab kewangan kan. Okay. So but I have a different, bukanlah nak kata tak agree, tapi I rasa macam kita kena mendalami sikit lebih. Bila kata kewangan tu, kenapa kewangan? Perspektif I, dia bukan itu. The underlying cause is that you tak communicate, you tak mutually agreed on the standard that you. Okay, contoh. I dengan husband I punya perspektif yang macam senang. Contoh senang I adalah rumah banglo, kereta sports car, contoh. Tapi suami I mungkin senang dia adalah as easy as dapat balik rumah, spend time dengan family. Okay, different. Mungkin I material, contoh. But I don't communicate this. I don't communicate my expectation. He don't communicate his expectation.
Clash itu lah.
Clash. So gaduh. You ni tak belikan I kereta. You ni tak banyak masa, contoh. Tapi sebab you tak communicate, you tak meet in between. So that's why pentingnya komunikasi tu. And I think macam even before I berkahwin pun, I already have this conversation. Because I nak tahu, orang kata apa ayat sekarang, sekufu tak? Kan? Yes. Kita ni align tak dalam kita punya perancangan masa depan? Okay, I nak macam ni. You okay tak? You nak macam ni. Okay tak?
Sekufu tu macam broad kan, I rasa.
Dia macam banyak lah sekufu ni. Sekufu ni bukan setakat cinta apa semua. Dari segi career goals you, career ni ataupun perancangan keluarga, semua tu sama tak align. So you kena ada komunikasi topik ni awal supaya bila you dah tahu, okay, then you boleh align expectation, you meet halfway. Okay, and that's the beauty of marriage. You compromise, you give and take. Right? It's not
so
about
you're saying apa ni, that discussion dia masa apa? Masa dah couple ke? Masa nak tunang ke?
Okay.
Because nanti kalau naik kan, alah tak romantik lah you.
Betul.
Orang nak cerita bulan dan bintang, awak cerita pasal career goals.
Okay, so betul lah tu, betul. For me, janganlah macam esok nak nikah baru nak bincang tu. Kan.
Tapi kena bincang
kan? Kena bincang. As early as possible. Macam sebab I dah lama dengan my friend. So bila macam dengan my husband now lah kan. So I think about our 5th year tu dah macam, okay, let's sit down, have an adult conversation, let's talk our plan. What's your 10-year plan? Apa you nak buat? Apa ni
So
career?
dia adulting lah. Adulting.
Nak tanya you kena ada benda tu. Sebab bila kadang-kadang itu yang terjadinya. Bila you tak align, lepas tu you macam, okay, cinta betul. You had me at hello. Orang kata, I love you, you love me. But kita kena realistic juga, right? Bila you kahwin ni, there's so much thing to consider. There's so much thing to be discussed about. And you are two different individuals. Kadang-kadang as simple as tak gantung towel pun boleh jadi gaduh, right? Tapi sebab betul sila gantung towel ya. Jangan tak gantung towel.
Jangan letak dekat tombol pintu.
Jangan betul. Macam biasa je. Okay, pesanan ya adik-adik luar sana. Okay, contoh macam tu kan, as simple as that. So had this conversation as early as possible. And it's okay. Katakanlah orang tu tak comfortable. Macam you cakap, I nak cerita bulan bintang ni, kalau kekasihku nak bagi syair malam-malam main gitar ni, you sibuk dah cakap pasal career. Kan? But that also gives you an indicator. Okay, is this guy or this girl is totally ready.
So that's where you know lah.
That's when I know. Skufu tak skufu. Then you can see. Macam tu.
The discussion, okay, you kata sebelum awal yang mungkin kan. Probably you ada soalan bocor kot. What's the discussion yang bermain? So, I mean, you ask between your boyfriend ketika itu.
Yep.
What is the question yang you tanya?
Okay, contoh macam my personal goal masa I belajar, I cakap nak tak nak by certain age I will further my studies.
Okay.
I will further my master.
Even though lepas kahwin.
Even though lepas kahwin. I cakap okay, I dah grad. My goal in certain ni I akan dapat ni. By certain age I nak dapat ni. Are you okay with me being your wife and furthering my masters, di mana I may not have given full attention to you? Kalau kita dah ada anak masa tu, mungkin tak boleh tu. Are you supportive of my dreams? To certain extent, kalau ada dapat rezeki sama luar, you boleh ikut tak? What's your take? Atau what's your take kalau I pergi, you tinggal? Benda-benda tu I dah tanya. Okay, dan dia macam, and then dia bagilah POV dia. I think like this. I think like that. Then I think, okay, alright. I'm supportive, but what if? That's the discussion come in. Okay, maybe kalau kata I tak boleh ikut you terus, I ikut you a little bit later. Kita have that. I mean, kita plan, kita merancang. Kan? So it's no harm in doing that. So I tanya benda tu. And then I tanya pula, okay, tu soalan I kat dia. Dia tanya kat I pula, okay, what if sampai satu tahap, katakanlah, okay, I kerja, tiba-tiba something happens di mana I tak bekerja, you kena jadi breadwinner.
Oh,
Dia tanya. Dah ada soalan tu.
Okay, alright.
Okay, put in perspective. Are you okay with that? Dia dah tanya awal. So, I already have to mindset, okay, there might be a probability for whatever reason. And betul lah, masa COVID, and my husband is an entrepreneur. Dia run his own business. COVID hits hard. Right?
Okay.
So, benda tu, sebelum COVID tu kita dah rasa, manalah tahu kan. So, but because kita dah ada that conversation earlier, I dah cakap, okay, I tahu. And when that point hits, macam, it's okay. No, it's my turn. I got your back. Alright, so that's
tahun COVID tu tahun keberapa dah kahwin?
Masa
Because
tu dah masuk
you do not look too old lah. So I don't think it's your 10-year anniversary ke apa kan?
Thank you for the beauty mask. Beauty routine is happening. Okay, anyway, I think COVID hits after, it was 2020 kan COVID?
2021.
Yeah, I think about it's already in our second year marriage, and already got a son.
Okay.
So COVID hits.
Alhamdulillah, rezeki anak awal.
Rezeki anak. Tapi at the same time, I got offer to further my master. At the same time. So 3 things happening at once.
Dapat offer master sebut rezeki ke?
Master rezeki juga. Dapat sama belajar.
Ni rezeki kahwin, rezeki anak.
Rezeki anak tu. So but then again, dia macam boom, semua benda jadi dalam satu masa. So business not doing so well, nak besarkan anak, nak further master, nak plan ni macam mana duit ni so yes, but we already had that conversation. What is the possibility? Apa-apa semua.
Just ada divert sikit lah sebab you cakap mengenai discussion mengenai before kahwin kan. You ada bincang juga ke tentang how's your family member, how dia punya family member, because dekat luar sana pun banyak yang bergaduh dengan mertua, ada yang tu mertua yang suami kena jadi breadwinner for the parent yang ada kat rumah. So the discussion, how do you navigate that discussion?
So kita cakap pasal family ni, lagi satu apa yang I selalu cakap, at least tu siapa-siapa atau yelah I ada cousin-cousin yang kecil-kecil ke apa semua, I cakap, you remember when you marrying your partner, girl or boy, you're not just marrying that person, you marrying the whole family, and you got to accept that, alright? And you got to adapt to that, alright? There will be disagreements sebab you guys adalah individual yang berbeza, pendapat yang berbeza and what not. But how you then make sure that orang kata meet halfway, you marries, okay? So macam my husband dengan I, our family background is nak kata sama tak sama, tapi lain lah. Contoh macam I anak tunggal, dia adik-adik beradik. Situ pun dah lain dah kan macam mana. Okay. My mom single mom. My dad passed away when I was 10. So it's just the two of us versus him. Dia ada parents, dia ada adik-beradik. So the way my mom bring me up pun lain compared to him and what not. So perspektif pun berbeza dari segi apa semua. So then we said lah macam of course bila sebelum berkahwin kita ada jumpa kan, kenal-kenal, orang kata beramah mesra, nak tahu apa macam mana. But then kita tengok juga macam okay, you tengok you okay tak bila tu, you kena kenal, you kena ramah, you kena kenal, you kena fahamkan. And then kalau you rasa masa tu mungkin you tak boleh kenal fully, lepas dah berkahwin baru you kenal betul kan. So kalau masa awal-awal tu you dah nampak ada benda yang memang okay, agak tak sesuai dengan saya lah, macam sebab tu, dan mungkin itu bukan jodoh you lah. Mungkin you kena orang kata buat solat istikharah kalau you Muslim kan, minta doa, tanya okay, is this the right, get that guidance, right? But if you really decided, you know what, okay, I still want to do this. So after marriage, kalau certain things are not aligned with what you have expected, that's where you need to tolerate.
Bojan, nak tanya satu lah kan. So dia cakap okay, ni dah settle dah kenal family apa semua kan. Then of course the whole ceremony lah kan.
Yes.
Kan. Okay, saya ingat dulu tau, saya lama juga nak simpan duit ni kan. Jadi I mean for those who married young kan, dalam I would assume you ni mesti up lah sikit dia punya hantaran dia kan. Because anak tunggal kan. So macam itulah, berani your husband memang bagus lah, really. So how did you guys were able to I mean, or what was the decision? Macam, should we do grand kan? Macam kahwin ni sekali je kan? Tapi
Kahwin sekali seumur hidup.
bau. Tapi bau setahun jagung bekerja tak apa. Bank banyak kan? Bank reject tak apa gitu. Kan? So how did you guys maneuver that? I mean, it must be okay for me. I recall it was scary juga for me kan, because commitment besar ni berapa lama. Betul. Apa nak kena plan dia apa semua, because I had quite a sizable ceremony lah. Pasal apa ni, I yang sulung lah my family, so of course lah my parents all out. Lepas tu pula
7 hari 7 malam ke kendurinya?
Lebih kurang
Lebih kurang. Okay. So me punya pengalaman, okay betul, anak tunggal mana, but then I come back to the point where cakap I'm marrying the whole family, right? So I think that's where masa kita dah bincang, my husband, he knows what he signed up for masa mula-mula kan.
Brace yourself lah.
Brace yourself lah kan. Macam tu. Sama juga dengan soalan, okay, selain pada perkahwin, nak cakap nak kahwin macam mana tu, another topic yang awal I tanya dengan my husband, because my mom is the only orang kata the person, single mother, is that if you are marrying me, you're technically like marrying my mother. So I have to bawa dia duduk dengan kita, sebab I tak boleh tinggalkan dia seorang kat kampung apa-apa. Are you okay with that? So that was the point where I know if he said no, macam mana sayang pun I kat dia, I tak boleh pergi dengan dia. Right? Because my mom is so important to me. Tiba-tiba emotional. So apa ni, bila macam tu, so I'm very particular. So bila my mom anak tunggal perempuan pula tu, dalam family cousin I ni someone yang macam semua orang macam okay manjakan I lah, macam tu kan. So memang kahwin tu memang grand lah, memang grand. Then I'm not saying that that's the only way untuk you guys buat ceremony, right? You can go as simple as possible. But my pengalaman is I have a grand wedding. So in terms of hantaran tu memang kita cakap lah. So I pun cakap dengan my mum macam and my husband, I said you have to come and ask for my mum and jumpa my uncle. Be a man, ask my hand in marriage. So dia jumpa seorang dulu. Saya nak menghalalkan yayan ni. Okay, you dah boleh provide, dah boleh apa? Kena interview lah, soal siasat lah. So and then bila tu separate discussion, kita discuss macam my mom apa semua. Okay, hantaran nak berapa, apa semua. Okay, dan kita tengoklah reasonable ke tak. Kita pun human being. Kalau I letakkan diri I, I letak diri I kat tempat dia juga, memahami. Takkanlah I nak minta 50,000 contoh, atau 100,000.
Cuma bukan 50,000 lah yang minta.
Bukannya.
Bawa sikit lah.
Bawa sikit.
Lepas
susulan. Tapi macam market price tu atas sikit lah. Tak adalah. So apa ni, kita tu okay, and then alright, and then kita discuss, okay, marriage nak macam mana, grand. Kita orang masih cakap okay, honestly macam walau orang kata baru grad, berapa ramai lah sangat kawan I pun, I don't have that. But it's the different story with my mom and my in-laws, because my in-laws are teachers, government servant. My mom a government servant. My late dad was a government servant. So ramai orang kenal. So I cakap okay, if you really want to invite, we only have this amount budget. I don't think we can have. So so macam mana? So that's why dia cakap okay, what if we contribute, because we know we have our guests. So that's why we have the adult conversation. I had that privilege. Yes, I'm not saying that all the wedding is fully funded by me. No. But then whatever additional, that is where
that's a consideration lah. So
that's
you
consideration
kinda, dia bukannya push back to your family.
Bukan.
But you set the expectation lah.
The expectation, I manage.
Ni jemputan kamu.
Saya tak mampu.
Saya cukup nak jemputan saya je.
Saya tak jemput.
Jemputan saya satu kelas je.
Satu kelas. Itu pun ramai yang tak datang kan. Macam tu kan. Contoh. So macam saya cakap, okay tak? Kalau betul nak ajak, if it's really important to you, but I cannot. So that's where they understand. So sometimes diorang again, communication. Diorang tak faham apa yang kita tu. So kita, tapi cara you berdiscuss tu janganlah macam terus tak boleh.
So for those who are planning pun, that's also a discussion.
Yes, wedding is a big thing. You nak buat, belum masuk lagi kalau I pula combine wedding, tu belum masuk tema lagi. Nak ni apa, macam mana. But again kita duduk, kita discuss. Okay tak ni, kita toleransi.
So apa nama ni, kalau kita tengok zaman sekarang with minimum gaji 1,700,
Okay.
So anak-anak muda sekarang ni pun bekerja bermula dengan gaji seperti itu. Dia orang pun dah ada pasangan dia orang, dah kahwin. Tapi orang kata apa ni, poverty rate,
urban poverty.
Kalau kita gabung 1,700, gabung 1,700 pun dah 3,400. So still bawah lagi, tu pun nak dekat bare minimum dah tu. So dalam situasi
miskin bandar.
Yes.
Betul.
So dalam situasi macam ni, dia orang nak kahwin. Should dia orang kahwin terus ataupun tunggulah you setahun dua, I naik pangkat sikit. Baru kita kahwin. Sebab walaupun I nak kahwin sangat dengan you, tapi kita punya ekonomi tidak stable. What's your point on that? What's your point of view on that? Adakah dia patut tunggulah dulu ataupun kahwin terus?
Okay. Kalau imagine I in that situation, me kalau I would say, okay, let's give it another 1 year or 2 years, see how it goes. Okay, but if it's the same, we got married. If not, macam tu lah. Maknanya kita bagi ourselves timeline.
Bukan satu larangan lah untuk mereka kahwin.
Tak, dia tak larang. Pada I, kalau kata you rasa macam tak apa kita kahwin, I percaya you kasi rezeki and I respect that. And everybody, kadang-kadang betul, memang lepas kahwin tu tiba-tiba lagi banyak rezeki dia. So it's not technically mitos juga wrong. So macam it really depends on you berdua. But whether are you really ready untuk menghadapi komitmen benda tu. You dah tahu ni, you dah tahu okay, 1,700, 1,340, komitmen kita banyak ni, tiap-tiap bulan kita ada RM50 je untuk makan. Contoh, kita kena makan nasi dengan garam je tiap-tiap bulan. Contoh. Ready tak? Kalau you tak ready, then kenapa you nak macam, you tahu you tak boleh lah. So that's why you know, okay, I'm really not ready. I really need my nasi with ayam goreng. Contoh, I tak boleh ready. So you got to wait. But if you cakap tak apa, I'm ready, susah senang, then okay, again, come back to communication. Mutually
Tapi kalau kita tengok dulu kan, I mean 40-50 years ago kan, I don't think ni adalah satu pertimbangan. Because like my parents, they got married while dia tengah belajar.
Yep.
Tak silap my in-laws pun
Sama lah,
berkahwin masa tengah belajar. Kan? So tak ada kot dia ada perbincangan podcast macam ni kan. Macam adakah itu mitos atau fakta kan?
Betul.
So I mean, what has changed?
I think time has changed. We are evolving and we got tambah-tambah lagi sekarang, there's a lot of resources yang kita boleh belajar. Dulu mungkin pada the way I see it, dulu orang-orang lama, betul, I tak deny, our grandparents dulu, even at certain umur berapa dah keluarga dah besar dah, orang kata kan.
90-an.
Itu satu yang but back then that was something yang memang orang kata accustomed to them. That's what has been thought, yang diturunkan ilmu, sebab dia orang ada mungkin limitasi
so,
dari situ.
maksudnya expectation jugalah.
In
macam
a way,
sekarang
betul.
ni expectation kita makan ayam goreng 7 kali sehari. 7 kali sehari pula.
7 kali sehari.
Boleh suruh tinggi tu. I mean 7 kali seminggu kan. But back then is, you know, life goes on.
Life goes on. Sebab dan dulu pun tak ada mana kita nak tengok, mana kita nak baca, dengan siapa kita nak rujuk, tak ada. Family kita lah, that is our source.
Pasti survive.
Pasti survive.
Alhamdulillah, insyaAllah.
Alhamdulillah. So sekarang, but kita ada
so,
privilege.
Expectation.
But kita juga ada privilege untuk tengok view different and see how we can adapt. Macam tu. Maknanya, but again, tak semua benda you boleh ikut bulat-bulat. It depends on you juga. I know that some of the people masih okay dengan traditional marriage, happy with as is. So tengok atas orang juga. Again, expectation lah.
It's expectation lah.
So I just nak tanya kepada Zahrin, actually this is a question for you lah, because kita berbincang tentang orang kahwin awal. I tak kata you kahwin lewat, but you ada tempoh period di mana you kahwin bukan dalam age orang terawal. So kita dah dengar perspektif Yayan kahwin awal. What's your perspective? Apa yang orang tak nampak daripada you punya view, yang you dah ada you punya resources untuk kahwin pada usia tu, you dah boleh kahwin dengan stability, financial stability.
Okay lah. So I kahwin 10 tahun lepas grad. Tapi sama kan, mungkin planning time dia sama kan orang kahwin awal. Okay. Tapi perspektif dia, I think one thing apa yang cakap juga. Kita bagi orang yang kahwin awal, mungkin dia fikir, what am I losing out? Tapi bagi orang yang kahwin lambat macam saya, risau dia, kita bawa anak pergi sekolah Kan? Cikgu tanya, oh ayah dia mana? Ngantuk kan? Yelah, Alhamdulillah orang tak ada lah. Asyik bawa anak di sekolah tak ada orang satu. Tapi I mean that was the orang kata apa? Kerisauan juga tau. Ni dah 8 tahun 9 tahun tak kahwin lagi. Kan? Tapi you know, I mean at that point of time pun kita pun tak tahu kalau ada anak ke apa. Kita berserah juga kepada Allah SWT. Alright? But yeah, so I think it's memang fitrah manusia ni untuk hidup berkeluarga. So yes, it's quite lonely. And of course, I mean that's the fitrah lah. Tapi bukan semua ada rezeki untuk jodoh awal. I think that's the diversity that Allah dah turunkan, provide to us so that we can learn, so that we can have this discourse kan, different perspective, apa semua lah. Tapi in terms of financial kan, is a yes and no juga. Kan? So I don't think kahwin tu akan menentukan kamu dapat rezeki yang elok juga. Because rezeki yang elok, that's also a test for you. Adakah kamu bersyukur? And rezeki yang tak elok also a test for you. Adakah kamu redha dan juga bersabar? Kan?
Betul.
Yep, so that's the perspective actually.
Rezeki tu rahsia Allah kata.
Betul.
Tak ada orang tahu. So great perspektif lah. Kita selalu dengar persoalan kahwin
orang muda lain.
So the orang kata wisdom daripada orang yang
You Bojan kahwin awal muda?
I boleh kata 26. Kahwin awal kan? I kahwin 26 lah. But my punya experience kahwin ni is that I kahwin because I boleh kata one of the factor is because everyone is getting married. So dia macam satu trend lah. Kiri kanan nak kahwin, aku pun nak kahwin je.
Macam trend FOMO je.
Itulah.
Betul. I kata I macam terjerat juga dengan benda tu. And then
kamu dah berinai belum?
Belum lagi. So I tanya lah my parents, saya nak kahwin. My parents pula kata, Alhamdulillah acik nak kahwin. Ibu dah doakan dekat dia bawa balik umrah. Ibu dah doa awalkanlah jodoh anak-anak. Macam my mother pun doa macam tu. This is a sign. So I kahwin. So bila dah kahwin tu reality hits lah. Dia kata macam it's not that simple lah. It's not that simple untuk I tak kata I memang terus ekonomi terus hancur, tak. But dia lebih kepada you need to organize your financial. Because bila kita seorang, kita boleh bersenang-lenang dengan duit yang kita ada. Kita tidak memikirkan orang lain melainkan diri kita.
Betul. Kalau lapar seorang
lah. Makan Maggi seorang lah. But bila wife lapar, kita tak ada duit, itu yang jadi macam aku lelaki, ego aku tercabar weh. Wife tak dapat makan. So yeah, that's my experience lah. But along the way, I kata I belajar untuk this thing is a process. Kadang orang belajar sebelum kahwin kan. Orang belajar yang kita kena ada financial. But I belajar selepas kahwin. There's a lot of mistakes I made, stumble along the way. But it makes me someone better lah. Dapat pula wife yang memahami. Alhamdulillah dapat wife memahami. So we move along the way. That's the experience lah. So if anyone yang nak kahwin awal ke, nak kahwin lambat ke, that's the pros and the cons lah. But I tanya satu soalan yang sekarang ni juga trending di social media, which is satu movement orang kata the alpha movement, yang di mana dia nak menaikkan martabat lelaki, traditional man. Dia kata macam a man kena jadi alpha, dia kena jadi ketua. Dan dia kena tunjuk yang dia boleh provide, dia tidak lemah, dia tidak ada emotional, dia punya decision tidak based on emotional. Stoic. Stoic. Dia kena dia kena decision dia kena based on data, dia tak boleh nak ada emosi dalam tu. So that movement sendiri I tengok dia macam nak mengeluarkan balik seorang lelaki yang kata bagus lah. That's the matlamat lah. So what do you think about that movement?
Okay, before I ask macam, tapi macam from perspektif perempuan.
Yes, perempuan.
Okay, I know I've counted some of this content, tapi macam tak adalah tengok mana lah. So I rasa macam it's not applicable to me. Okay. In a such way yang I rasa macam okay, yes, true, it helps to motivate that individual, that guy, whoever that watch it. But positive side of it, mungkin dia akan push someone untuk macam, oh yes, I need to work better for my family. Okay. But the negative side of it, katakanlah memang you punya orang kata life tu sendiri, upbringing tu sendiri macam it doesn't affect to your life. Contoh kadang-kadang ada orang ada different circumstances. Katalah kena provide, kena ni apa benda. Tapi macam mungkin situasi sesebuah keluarga tu it's the otherwise. But doesn't mean that does that mean that it make you less of a man? No.
Okay.
Right? For me, as a woman, I'm not sure, this is my POV, I don't just value based on that. Alright? It doesn't make you less of a man if you can like be the alpha of the guy, if you can't decide whatever. Right? Because marriage is a work. It takes two to tango. You kena bersama-sama. You build a family together. Bukan you seorang, you dictator nak bagi tahu apa benda semua. It doesn't work that way. At least from my POV, my perspective lah.
So, tak salah lah. I silently wish that my wife is a closeted billionaire.
Oh, tak salah. Ya. I mean, I tak salah. Macam,
sayang, nak mengaku ni bagi kau saya.
So yeah,
alamak, kena berhenti buat podcast.
Terus keluar macam tu. Anyway, yeah. So macam for me I don't really mind lah all that. It's not important to me that macam tu. But again, because maybe macam dengan my husband, kita orang dah memang okay with this kind. But for certain people, maybe macam, okay, I really need to be as such, kan? So it depends on individual lah. For me, it doesn't really matter for me. But maybe that's why I really wanted to understand from guys punya POV juga. So maybe from you, Zarin, this kind of content, like how does it affect you? I nak tahu kak. So korang nak dengar perempuan, I nak dengar lelaki. Macam mana?
I mean, itulah apa ni pasal alpha male sekarang ni lagi banyak kan. Kita ada sigma lah, kan. So it's labeling kan. Well, maybe it's fitrah manusia juga to be sense of belonging, bukan leader kot, sense of belonging, naklah some group kan. Kan macam old money ke apa kan. But okay, or maybe because saya ni dah lanjut usia, so you doesn't have that much impact on me. But on this context, I think well, it is good for any movement to be a better version of themselves lah kot. Kan? Because I mean, as long as it is not harmful to anyone, dia tak melanggar akidah, tak mencela akhlak kita ke, I think that's good. And I think it's for everyone sendiri to reflect on jugalah, because kalau katakan lelaki ni pula jenis yang malas pula pun kita marah.
Yes.
Kalau emotional sangat bila wife nangis, dia nangis lagi lebih pun macam I'm looking for you to be a shoulder for me to cry on. Ni sama-sama we cry pun masalah juga. Tapi kalau tadi emosi macam sayang, anak pertama kami,
nonchalant. Orang panggil sekarang
nonchalant macam
noted.
Life must go on. Noted. Life must go on. Kan macam kamu ni kan rezeki Allah ni kan. So I think just as long as it's not extreme and whatnot. Again, because like you, I can't comment much. I've not seen that on my post. Yeah.
So for me, I boleh bagi tahu yang at first mula-mula kahwin, I dengan wife, I have this mentality di mana everything is 50-50. So okay, but that's the thing. I tak communicate like you before. Ada clash lah. Dia kata, no, your husband kena lead. I was like, huh? Kena lead, but I need 50-50 family. So terang kurang lah. So
tapi nasib baik juga tak communicate. Nanti dekat labor room dia tuntut 50-50.
So benda tu I rasa if I dapat tahu that kind of pemikiran alpha, it's not that I support them, but there are certain part di dalam the masculine movement that I like. It's not everything. Sebab one of yang bukan everything is the emotionless dan emosi. Because kita manusia dilahirkan dengan emosi. So it's for me dia tidak cantik lah kalau orang kata kita lelaki tidak boleh ada emosi. Kita kena stoic. Boleh ada emosi tapi jangan tunjuk. For me that's a bad way to get a mental health lah. Kan? So for me, so bila daripada 2015-2016 I ada mentality macam tu, there are certain arguments di mana you lah tolong I am 50, you kan kerja bla 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 bla, things like that happen lah. So as time goes by, I kata this is how men should be lah. You need to lead. You need to lead that you kena, dan you kena firm dengan leadership you. For instance, bila wife tanya kita nak pergi mana, apa pendapat abang, dia bila I drill lagi, dia kata dia nak jawapan daripada I. Dia tak nak I delegate dengan dia pun. Because I'm a man. You should make the answer solid. You jangan nak janganlah tanya pada no, I want your answer. Because you're the man. So as time goes by, I kata macam there are certain parts di dalam that movement yang I really like. Jadi lelaki, you kena ada satu mentality yang you kena provide as a provider mentality. So for me, that's my
But I think that's the duty pun.
Yes, that's the duty pun.
So kalau kita kupaskan balik, what's the duty of a husband? What's the duty of the wife? And I think if we stand guided by that, insyaAllah, should be a harmonious relationship.
Yep.
Betul. And this is the last question lah. This is before we go. Ada I tengok lah. I tahu dulu pun ada juga kata, degree ni, perempuan ada degree, hantaran dia lagi mahal.
Baik dia tak continue studies dia lagi.
Itulah.
Itu pun dah borderline 50.
49.99.
49.999.
Tapi sekarang okey ke? Dah gurau je. Ragu.
3 kali bayaran.
3 kali.
So is that really relevant di zaman sekarang di mana kita tengok education untuk menentukan paras hantaran?
Interesting question So itulah I teringat dulu I think masa zaman kawan tu ada newspaper ke artikel keluar ni apa-apa semua macam benchmark. So macam tak boleh ni, kena lebih ni. Tak ada lah kan. But for me, look, itu sebagai benchmark. But then again, macam ni saya cakap duit tu, how do I put it? There's no right or there's no exact amount to ukur somebody or whatnot. And it's not something yang duit hantaran tu bukanlah kata macam nilai. Okay, nilai seorang husband or wife, so you cannot nilai or human based on that, right? But it's a significant. But most importantly, sometimes benda duit hantaran tu certain value based on degree tu, I really have no comment. I tak tahu nak cakap tu.
Tapi bukan rukun pun kan?
Not really, exactly. So macam so this
rukun.
is something yang macam okay.
Mas kahwin sah.
Mas kahwin, betul. It doesn't need. Tapi macam duit hantaran tu sebenarnya untuk apa? Okay. Dulu I know past experience my older cousins duit hantaran tu memang solely untuk dia, memang tu. And I think ada certain negeri memang untuk untuk dia. Tapi I think kebanyakan sekarang, and I see it, macam duit tu sebenarnya sebagai tanda, tetapi duit tu digunakan untuk perbelanjaan wedding tu juga. Betul kan? So maknanya macam it's part of the expenses jugalah sebenarnya. Tapi itu bukanlah tanda nak mengukur that's the value of particular person. So macam again, it depends juga. And janganlah bila kata memang kena 15 atau 20, memang tak bagi tu tak boleh, tak. Jangan letaklah. Macam Zarin cakap, sebenarnya mas kahwin tu itu yang rukunnya.
Kan, because dia jadi macam kita cerita lepas kahwin ni datang rezeki, tapi sebelum kahwin lagi kita dah
macam tu kan.
Membazir.
Betul.
I'm not saying it's membazir lah, but what I'm saying is that
it's not like the only thing that it's just
and maybe can just normalize mas kahwin sahaja ke.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Going back to rukun.
So
going back to hukum.
So let's conclude this discussion right now lah. So what do you think about the topic today? Dia kata mengatakan lepas kahwin rezeki melimpah luah. mitos atau fakta. What do you stand on that selepas conversation ni?
I stand je. Saya tak nak jawab je. Tak adalah. So COVID, I think macam it's not entirely myth, it's not entirely facts. But it is something yang for you untuk ponder and to sometimes it's a word, bukanlah kata to live by, but it's something yang macam helps you to kind of like bukan mantra, I don't know what's the word, macam yang you boleh pegang untuk macam okay, for you a sense untuk you in your decision making, a statement. But it's not like the only factor that needs to be to, right? But I think what's much more important is also if I can take this opportunity untuk juga share macam if I can share based on my experience and looking at what's happening right now, trying to macam what is like the no-no lah orang kata kahwin ni apa benda semua kan. So I think the important thing and based on what we have been discussed macam you need to know who you are, what is within your, orang kata live within your means, right? Your standards and whatnot. You don't have to macam, oh sebab orang ni buat, I kena buat juga. You don't have to have that FOMO trend or nak kena buat big weddings ke apa semua macam saya cakap tadi juga. Macam I do agree that macam like me, yes Alhamdulillah I have the privilege to have a such grand wedding and I like every bit of it. It's very close to my heart. But there is nothing wrong juga untuk ada orang kata buat majlis akad nikah and just makan family macam masa time COVID, and there's nothing wrong,
COVID
right?
wedding.
COVID wedding.
Betul.
So macam janganlah sampai kerana you nak expectations, but of course as a human being you ada that tendency, oh I want to show kat my Instagram or my social media that this is my wedding. You know you
It's
want to
wedding.
have that pride sikit lah as a human, right? But it doesn't have to be that way. Kalau betul you tak tu, janganlah sampai nak berhutang ke apa semata untuk benda tu, sebab wedding is wedding, but beyond wedding, marriage, that is much more important. What's coming and whatnot, right? So let's not try to be tu. Dan I think itu yang pentingnya, kena ada this financial literacy. That's why you need to learn. That's why you need to get opinions. That's why you have to watch this podcast, for instance, right?
Watch this podcast.
Watch this podcast to see what I think, what other people think, right? And then you tengok mana yang baik you ambil, mana yang tak baik you tak payah ambil, right? At the end of the day, it's really about you. And then also you punya your life lah.
So katakanlah apa ni, the audience of the podcast ni fast forward je sampai di end kan, that summary kan. So what's the biggest takeaway?
The biggest takeaway the biggest takeaway I said okay nak kena fikir ayat ni.
So communication, I rasa
Communication is key. Please communicate, plan ahead. And then macam it's okay if you are you may not be as the same as your punya societal. Don't expectation, manage expectation. Yes. Expectation is important. And at the end of the day, of course, if we were to go back to our roots, berserah pada Allah, jodoh apa benda semua. But usaha tu penting.
How about the financial planning in terms of the ceremony event itself?
Ceremony event, it's okay to have a simple event. You don't have to be a grand wedding. If you have the means, yes. But also take into consideration that, you know, there's nothing wrong with doing as simple as akad nikah.
Boleh apply credit card.
Credit card, please. If you are really know your financial, you are stable, yes. But if you take it just for the sake of that one day to spend lavish, just for the sake of nak memuaskan hati orang lain tapi bukan keperluan, lebih kepada kemahuan.
Kalau financing, lama sikit payah.
Oh, banyak saya. Janganlah. Banyak lagi lah. Lepas kahwin banyak financing. Nak beli rumah lagi, tak adalah. No need lah. Ya. So itulah pesanan kepada adik-adik di luar sana lah kot.
Okay, so apa-apa pun just kita kena ingat lah yang planning tu penting, but jangan takut untuk kahwin lah. It's not something yang, if you have the right mentality, InsyaAllah, everything will be right selepas kahwin. Even though planning tu tak berapa secure, ataupun planning tu dah secure, kita tidak tahu masa depan kita macam mana. So berbalik kepada plan dan juga berbalik kepada doa kita lah. Sebab at the end of the day kita kena berserah. Kita tak tahu masa depan kita. So thank you Yayan kerana jadi guest kita hari ini. Kepada pendengar di luar sana, terima kasih kerana stay sampai akhir. Dan jangan lupa follow social media kami, BU, di Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, X dan Thread. Semoga kita berjumpa lagi. Assalamualaikum. Kalau kita dipatut ular, lepas tu kita ada 30 saat saja lagi untuk hidup. Adakah kalau kita kena patut lagi sekali, dia jadi 1 minit saja untuk hidup?